the ring I was looking for. Good morning. Good morning, all you beautiful people. All of you who are in touch with oneness. Everybody, hey, if we could get you to go ahead and turn on your cameras for a second and wave and say what's up, if you feel like it. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning. Yeah. Yes, yes, yes. So good to be in the space. Oh, the blessing. Oh, the blessing. The blessing, the blessing, get to see what God has done. Oh, the blessing. The blessing. The blessing. The blessing. Get to see. What God has done. All you gotta do is just look and see. Look and see. Take a look and see what God has done. Look and see. Look and see. Take a look and see what God has done. Ooh. The blessing, the blessing, the blessing, the blessing, get to see. What God has done. Please welcome Anthony Prado.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. And again, thank you to Lukeman Frank and our own Kevin Choice, bringing this service to a very sacred space with their musical talent and artistry. You guys are amazing. And again, welcome everyone to the Oakland Center for Spiritual Living, where we teach spiritual principles and practice that nourish us, uplift us, and celebrate our oneness with all of life. And we make that statement every week, and when you think about it, that's quite a statement, where we have principles and practice that nourish us, uplift us, and celebrate our oneness with all life. Looking at the affirmations that we read throughout the service, those will help you, experience this oneness with life. And a special welcome to those who are joining us for the first time. We're glad you found us, and we hope you'll keep coming back. We can't wait to meet you in person. We can't wait to see everybody in person again, but we're doing what we can to stay safe. It's in the writing here. It says, "We can't wait to meet you in person back in our beautiful sanctuary on the hill." It is. We do miss our building. It's such a beautiful sanctuary. And do make sure you sign up for our weekly newsletter so you can learn about all the fun things and inspirational things we offer here at the Oakland Center. You know what? I don't think I introduced myself. My name is Anthony. I am the secretary of the Board of Trustees here at the Oakland Center for Spiritual Living. And it is certainly my privilege to be in front of you, in front of the camera. Going back to our announcements, if you'd like to connect, please send an email to Constance Chapman. We're going to put up a slide in a little bit showing you the email. So at this point in time in our service, what we do is honor the children. I think that's a special part of the service. These are the people who will carry the future for us. Some of us will be long gone, and it's our blessing to them that we recognize them and we see the beauty and they're in their light. And so just muted, we say, we honor all our youth and children in our community and the world. We love you, we see you, you are Spirit's gift to us. Thank you for being in our lives, and so it is. And thank you for being in our lives. Yeah, I mean, I don't have any children, but when I go to a park and I see children playing with their parents, grandparents, with each other, it is a gift. It's a gift of joy. It's a gift of love. Thank you. So as usual, this is the announcement part of the service. Wednesday, February 9th, I believe that is incorrect because that would be in this coming Wednesday, which is not the 9th. Dodi Cheney Fernandez will lead our satsang, the Wednesday night service, discussing Forgive to Live. Meditation starts at 6:30, and the service is at 7. Find the Zoom link on the website. Dodi Cheney Fernandez is a practitioner emeritus, by the way. And then next Sunday, Reverend Verona Garland, who was an active member of our church years ago, will be speaking on that same subject. This is a very, I think, important subject. Forgive to live. Forgiveness is, I know in my life, it is a huge issue, especially self-forgiveness. Let's give Reverend Verona a big welcome back to Oakland Center. If you don't know her, you're in for a treat. And we are in the midst of Black History Month now, and it's not too late to dive into several wonderful groups where we're really going deep into some subjects to find the light that's been buried, that's appropriately written. The first one is a book study, Caste, as you can see there on the slide, the origins of our discontent. It started on February 7th. You can still join practitioner emeritus Carmen West Jefferson for an 8-week journey into exploring the consciousness concerning difference and hierarchy in the United States. By becoming aware, we then have the power to change that consciousness to one of unity. And inherent in that statement has to be the spiritual power that we all have and guiding and changing consciousness as we can. The second one is the guidance. This is a daily, I believe. Yes, guidance for a spiritual journey. It meets at noon for half an hour or slightly more. This is a noontime spiritual journey service started a year ago for Black History Month. The daily readings and discussions are rich and full of wisdom. When Black History Month ended a year ago, we continued with this program here, and it's very popular. Each day we read from Guidance for a Spiritual Journey. It's a book by Dr. Daniel Lee Morgan, who served for over 40 years as founder and minister of Guidance Church of Religious Science. The next thing we want to talk about is the season of nonviolence. The season for nonviolence has begun, and for 64 days, we'll put our consciousness and attention on nonviolence. Remember to sign up. It's not too late. We know that when what we pay attention to grows. Yes, exactly. But as I've heard, energy flows where the attention goes. So let's grow nonviolence as a community. When you sign up to take part, you will receive a daily email with thoughts to contemplate. You will also pick up a booklet to do daily journaling. Please sign up today by going to the events page on our website. The sign-up link will also be in the Village News tomorrow. And then our next announcement has to do, we need help in our technical service on the team. Yeah, we're going to get to that annual meeting. But for now, I just want to say, do you have a secret talent for audio cables and HDMI ports? Have you been fascinated by digital graphics? Or anyway, if you have any kind of skills, knowledge, have you been harboring a hidden passion for digital graphics and live theater? Or maybe you're the one your parents asked to make the camera on the Zoom work? Then OCSL AV Tech Team is looking for you. So if you're looking for the most fun team at the Oakland Center, come serve and play with us and watch it all come back to you. Go to the events page for a link to contact Peggy Cotton. So she runs the AV team. So yeah, we're looking for people for the technical. And then the next announcement is what you see in front of you. It's our annual meeting. That's going to be on March 4th at 6:30 p.m. Remember, this is a Zoom meeting. Don't show up at the center. Everyone is invited to attend. Official members will be receiving a notice. Actually, it was sent out already. Yeah, I was corrected on that. Everyone is invited, and you should have received an email from Constance. If not, send her an email and let her know you didn't get it. Emails can get buried. I have that problem. So look through your email, because some people will say, I never got it. It's there. Constance is very good about this, and she does these global emails for general events like this. So please attend. We need your attention and support on this. All right. Did we have a slide for Constance and the contact information? Yes, we do. There it is. A lot of times for further information, please contact Constance. There's her email address. There's Reverend Jerry, I'm going to call her interim, but that's not the official title, but she's our contract administrator for now, looking wonderful, both of them. That's who to contact if you have any questions about what's going on here. Also, the website address, www.oaklandcsl, that's all one word, .org. And lastly will be our mission statement, vision and mission statement. And read along with me, please. The vision of the Oakland Center for Spiritual Living is to joyfully reveal the love and oneness of God. We are a welcoming and inclusive spiritual community dedicated to individual transformation and collective growth. Our purpose is to love, inspire, and serve our community and the world through education, music, prayer, and play. So at this point in the service, I want to turn the spotlight over to the pulpit assistant, Regina Buckwalter, who will guide us through the meditation part of our service. Thank you. Have a great week. Stay safe.
Thank you, Anthony. Good morning, everyone. What a joy to be here this morning, the day before Valentine's Day, the day of love, self-love, deepening love into our hearts and moving that love out into the world. The first thing to do is to read the New Minister Covenant. So if we could have that on the screen, that would be awesome. Scramble. Okay, here we go. My New Minister Sacred Covenant Prayer. There is only one life. This life is good. This life is God. This life is my life now. In knowing that I am one with this life, that is God, I therefore know that I am one with all of its blessed expressions, which includes the presence of a new minister for my beloved spiritual community. Because I know that the highest purpose of my new minister is to reveal spirit. I therefore know that my new minister is a revelation of God as wisdom. I know that my new minister is the fulfillment of that which has been promised by Spirit, for it is written, I am fulfilled with divine wisdom. I allow divine mind to fill my mind now. As I stand in agreement with my beloved community, I see my new minister revealed before me as unity in the community. Thank you. So I would like to move forward with the readings now. Oh, okay. Not yet. I now intend to experience my new minister in full cooperation and agreement with my community, knowing this truth about myself. For I am inspiring unity and diversity, embracing and nourishing our community. I am awakening the wisdom within. I am healing and expanding our community with the power of love. I am engaging the community and building a world that works for everyone. I am deepening family consciousness. As I now accept the highest expression of a new minister into my life, I know that they are revealed in a way that illuminates spirit and serves the highest and greatest good of all who are touched by their presence. I am grateful God is gracious, and so it is. Ashe. Wow. And now the readings for this Sunday. So you may settle in to yourself with the breath as I read the readings of today's service. In the silence of the soul's communion with the great cause of all being, into the stillness of the absolute, into the secret place of the Most High, back of the din and the ceaseless whir of life, we shall find a resting place and a place of real spiritual power. Ernest Holmes. Okay, the second reading. A man is worked upon by what he works on. He may carve out his circumstances, but his circumstances will carve him out as well. Frederick Douglass. So as we deepen into that silent place of the absolute, we breathe to deepen. We breathe to settle. We breathe to connect. As we breathe in from above, from above that luminous place of infinite power and presence and light. We breathe in and we are connected to that which is always there. We just tap into that awareness of that which is always there. And we gently breathe in and we feel our breath. Every little nook and cranny within our spiritual center within is infused with more light. And that light is love manifest in our lives. As we breathe in from that luminous place above, we settle in and feel the breath descending deeply into our bodies, into our souls, into our feet as they touch the earth. And we say yes to this support, yes to this nourishment, yes to this medicine for my soul. And we touch the earth and we breathe up and down the channel of life. The life, that which we carve out our lives through. We breathe in and we breathe out and we connect with that place of nourishment, that place of love. Our spiritual center, that go-to place that allows us to carve out our lives, moving from our hearts into the world. We carve out our lives through this connection of the divine, of that juicy love that moves through us and nourishes us. And we say yes to God. Thank you, God. I am one. I am unified. I am nourished. I am illuminated. And I move this love out, as that is our connection with our family. That is our connection with our community. That is our connection with every single person we pass in our lives. It is the juicy connection that is alive and moving through us. I settle in and I say yes and thank you, God. I bless this service today. I bless this service as we are all aligned in love. As I speak the truth for myself, I speak the truth for every single person gathered together to hear Reverend Jacquelyn this morning, as she is our guide. She will illuminate, transform, deepen into the principles of love today. I bless every single person that has been on this call, every single person that is in the IT support, the musicians, the practitioners, everybody that has gathered together in the sacred community today. We are all indeed blessed. As we are moving from that place, we are carving out daily that place of love, our spiritual center. And I celebrate and I say, yes, thank you. Knowing the truth of our lives, knowing that God is moving through us. The infinite power, the infinite presence of love is within us. And we celebrate knowing that today. Even more, even more. And I release my word into the law of love. I release, I let go, and I let God. And so it is. And now, I would like to introduce Kev Choice and Luc Monfranc, as they will indeed inspire us as we continue the celebration today. Okay, it's your turn. Thank you.
Truth, 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 truth. I want more truth, 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 truth. I want more truth, 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 truth. I want more truth, truth, truth. I'm gonna pray for it. I'm gonna pray for it. I'm gonna pray, I'm gonna pray, I'm gonna pray, I'm gonna pray for love, I'm gonna pray for peace, I'm gonna pray for joy and truth, I'm gonna pray for it, yeah, yeah, I'm gonna pray, Please welcome Reverend Jerry Carter.
Oh my, you both did it again and again and again. Thank you for bringing truth to us this day in such a beautiful way. We are so blessed. Thank you, Lukman. Thank you, Kev. Thanks to everyone who's part of this day today, because it's an amazing day. It started off with such ease and grace behind the scenes with our tech team, and it continues on with the beautiful prayers and music and meditation. I'm Reverend Jerry, and I'm really happy to be part of this day and absolutely part of this Black History Month, which has been fabulous for us at Oakland Center as we not only celebrate all through the year, but this month in particular with amazing speakers, great teachers, beautiful music, and so much more. We are such a blessed community, and today I'm absolutely excited about Reverend Jacquelyn Edwards, who also, well, first of all, she's definitely weaved into the fabric of Oakland CSL. There's no doubt about that. She's also teaching our Advanced Consciousness Studies Term 2. So our students, I know, are just so blessed by her brilliance. And I am so happy to be celebrating this time with her. Now, before I bring her on, I just want to say that part of Black History Month for me has been being with Dr. King's I Have a Dream. And what stood out for me today was one sentence that I just want to share with you. It is, again and again, we must rise to the majestic heights of meeting physical force with soul force. That was such a powerful part of the reading for me today. So without further ado, I know that we are going to be so beautifully blessed and inspired, and I welcome Reverend Jacquelyn Edwards to our virtual platform.
I mute myself. Hello, hello, hello. Oakland Center for Spiritual Living. Hello, I am deeply and humbly grateful to be here and to be part of this pantheon, I'm going to call it, of speakers for this February 2022, where we indeed have, we have much to do, we have much to be grateful for, and we have much to absolutely delight in. And I want to start by inviting us to delight in the beauty, the absolute beauty of this day, and invite you also to join me in consciousness as I go within to that place where there is a connection with the divine, a personal connection, where I declare that I gratefully, deeply, and humbly remember that God, the good, Spirit, Oludumare, the divine, the all, by whatever name we call it, there is that is good, there is that to which there is no opposite. And I know that that resonates in, as, and through me, in, as, and through each one having brought us to the place of this service, as well as each one in our audience today, each congregant, each person on the live stream, each person watching it sometime later. All of us are absolute emanations with the divine. As such, I know that this conversation, this exchange that we are opening ourselves to, making ourselves available to, is already blessed, already blessed. And so it is with a sense of gratitude for the blessing of our conversation today that I release this word to the immutable, perfect, and impeccable law that always and in always simply says yes. Ashe, amen, I mean, aho, and so it is. Hey, church. Hey, family. Hey, center. And I want to start there with this idea of hey, center, meaning that we are invited in this time, I think more so than any other time, to realize and recognize that in this entity called Centers for Spiritual Living, that we are stepping up and stepping out. And we are stepping out into a new way of being in the world. I want to invite and strongly, strongly encourage each one of you to go to the Facebook page for the spiritual leader for Centers for Spiritual Living. That is Reverend Dr. Edward Viljoen, who is also the senior minister at the Santa Rosa Center for Spiritual Living. Go to his Facebook page and listen to, hear, allow yourselves to hear, to feel, to experience his opening talk at the convention that we recently had in Palm Desert. And I cannot overemphasize the importance of each one of us as metaphysicians, as religious scientists, as participants in this entity that is Centers for Spiritual Living, as well as those who may be visitors, those who really want to know who we are and what we're about. Go to the Facebook page for the spiritual leader for Centers for Spiritual Living and listen to Dr. Viljoen's opening talk for our recent conference. Ashe, ashe. You know, I like that interaction. So I'm going to feel you. So I'm inviting you wherever you are to put your ashe, your amen into the room. And in that place that there's really only one of us, in that place that we know and celebrate oneness, we'll have that going on. Pause and find the cause. That is the title for this week's talk. And everyone, well, I can't say everyone, I can say many people throughout CSL, Centers for Spiritual Living, are using this title, Pause and Find the Cause. And that title is part of our month of February theme of the inner life. The inner life, that which is within, as we know and teach, determines in no small measure what shows up without. That which is within determines, gives voice to, gives shape to, gives form to our experience as we walk the world. And we're going to play with that a little bit. The annual theme is living from everyday wonder. living from everyday wonder. So we are, first of all, for the entire year of 2022, and this is already turning out to be a magical year in so many different ways. For the year of 2022, we are invited to live in everyday wonder. That means when you are walking around in the world, notice, see what's going on. And I'm inviting you to also see what impact your own presence has on the world that you walk in and walk through. As has already been stated, this is African American History Month, and I'm inviting us to look at the trifecta of what we have going on today. So we have African American History Month. It is Super Bowl Sunday for those of you that are going to check out the Rams and the Bengals at 3:30. We've got plenty of time between now and then, and I know you already got it together, so you can be 100% present right here in our exchange right now. And tomorrow is Valentine's Day. So we're celebrating love. We're celebrating love in all of its magnificence. In this idea of pause and find the cause, we start with this pausing, understanding from a spiritual perspective that what we're talking about is my quiet time, that time that I spend with the divine that informs my finding the cause. Finding the cause, meaning that both I am finding the reason, so in my spiritual practice, I'm consistently reminded of the reason for my being, right? I'm knowing that there is that within me that is greater than, more powerful than any circumstances or conditions without, and I'm divinely guided as to how to address whatever the circumstances are that are without. That is the other definition of cause, which is to find the reason why. In this year of 2022, and every year has a theme. Every year, February, Black History Month, African American History Month, has a theme. This year, the theme is Black health and wellness. Black health and wellness. What better theme to have as we are coming out of the experience of COVID that demonstrated in a very, very impossible to ignore way the disparities in health and health care in between the African American and really between communities of color and white or Caucasian communities. That was the thing that was kind of in our faces. So I think it's very appropriate that we are using this month to celebrate Black health and wellness. And as we tap on that, we're also getting to tap a little bit on this idea of how we got over. And when I'm saying how we got over, what I am talking about is that I am constantly during this COVID period, and mind you, I went into it thinking that I was somebody that knew something about Black history, that I was somebody that knew something about the conditions that have existed, that my people have existed under in these United States of America. But even I learned some things. I learned some things that made my heart hurt. I learned some things that made me smile and say hallelujah and be deeply and humbly grateful. And in all of that, I kept coming back to it is a miracle that we are here. When I look at the trajectory of the history of these African people in these United States over 400 years, I'm like, ooh, we are some awesome, awesome people. And in that way, coming back to oneness, that thing that we teach here, coming back to that, that means that we also stand as teachers. We stand in a way and in a place that if and as we can come together in conversation across the artificial boundaries of race, we might have something to teach everybody. What you think about that? How you like me now is one of the ways that that gets expressed. I want to come a little bit back to this idea of this month's theme of Black health and wellness. Because in looking at this idea of Black health and wellness, what we're also doing is we are recognizing not only Black scholars and medical, that is, formally trained medical practitioners in Western medicine, and now we're also talking about how I got over, but we're talking about other ways of knowing, other ways of experiencing healing. We're talking about birth workers. We're talking about doulas. We're talking about midwives. We're talking about herbalists. We're talking about naturopaths. My colleague and friend, Reverend Celeste, last week reminded us of how actually we all came out of the African diaspora. She touched a little bit on how there were some wisdom traditions that came out of that continent of Africa that people brought with them. And so today I'm inviting us, as we are considering celebrating, raising up, and improving Black health and wellness, that we are also recognizing the wisdom, the skills, and the tools that those folks brought with them to the experience of enslavement. And I want to make it even more personal than that, because my grandfather, my mother's dad, my grandfather kept a herbal garden in his house, at his really shanty, right? Because my grandfather was a sharecropper. And in that experience, he still found a way to keep in touch with his own healing tradition and healing roots, and used it. And my mother passed that he passed that down to his daughters, and my mother was able to use some of that in healing her babies whenever we got ill. I want to raise up in this consciousness my probably all-time favorite young woman for this entire period, Dr. Kismikia Corbett. As some of you may know, Dr. Corbett, I'll just use that because she's now an assistant professor of viral immunology at Harvard School of Immunology and Infectious Diseases. So I'm going to say that a little again with a little less. And I'm stumbling because every time I think about the fact that she is 36 years old. She just had her 36th birthday on January 26th. At 36 years old, this young woman was instrumental in developing the Moderna vaccine. At 30, actually, oh wait, that means she was 34 when she did that. At 36, she's an assistant professor of immunology and infectious disease at Harvard University. I also want to raise up Mary McLeod Bethune. She is someone that I consider to be my matron saint. One of our communities here, I'm just going to call it all out, Heart and Soul, they have Harriet Tubman as their matron saint. And I wasn't familiar with that term, matron saint, until I peeked over there and saw that they were into that. And so I'm bringing this because I want to invite you to do two things. You know, I always have assignments for you. So our first assignment today is to find your people. Typically in Black History Month, we use the time to talk about Black people, African-American people that did things that you don't know about because it's not in the history books, because it's not in the books that you grew up with. what I want to invite you to do is not hear me give you a list of folks. I could do that. You know, I could do that. I don't want to do that. I want to give you my two that I've just given you, and I want to invite you to find your people. And what I mean by that is that I'm extending an invitation to you to know, to expand your own knowledge, that there is no field, not a, you know, we say there's not a spot where God is not. I want to tell you there's not a spot where some Black folks are not. So I want you to pick your own area. I don't care what it is. I don't care if it's physics, if it's of course, metaphysics, we know we got our people there. If it's astrophysics, if it's nuclear physics, I seem to be on the physics kick right now. If it's geography, if it's any area, let me just say that because I have some other things I want to say too. But any area, you go find the African American presence in that. And I promise you that if you look, you'll find. Now, there's not going to be a whole lot. There may only be one or two, but the invitation is for all of us to collectively realize what we like to say when we say that African American history is American history. Ashe. It's Valentine's Day tomorrow. It's Valentine's Day. It is the time that we celebrate love. Now, again, we know that we're celebrating love more than just on the one day that we call Valentine's Day. But I want to share with you one of my favorite moments when I think about love and when I think about Black love showing up publicly in particular. And that moment in time was at the the first inauguration of President Barack Hussein Obama. I'm going to say that again. I love saying his name for so many reasons. Barack Hussein Obama and Michelle Obama at their first inaugural dance in January of 2009 danced to the song At Last, and it was sung by Beyonce. Now, I have to tell you, I am absolutely a member of the Beehive for, again, lots of reasons. Let's see, a most recent reason, I would invite you to check out the musical presentation, Black is King. Again, Black is King, Beyonce, check it out. Yes, another assignment. But back to At Last, the song that they danced, that first danced to at that inauguration. That song was actually written by some folks named Mac Gordon and Harry Warren for a musical. Now, I didn't hear anything about it, and you probably didn't either, until Sister Etta James sang it, brought it, and made it famous. At last, my love has come along. My lonely days are over. At last, the skies above are blue. My heart was wrapped up in clover the night I looked at you. And then this next few lines here, I found a dream that I could speak to, a dream that I can call my own. I found a thrill to press my cheek to, a thrill that I have never known. As I was revisiting that song this year, as I was playing it and listening to it, I once again got to see the genius in it, and the genius of selecting that as the song for that first dance. As I'm listening to this song, it spoke to me in a different kind of way. It spoke to me in a way that it was sharing with me that today we're celebrating having the first African American president. And in that very experience, there is, I found a dream that I could speak to, a dream that I can call my own. Do we not hear in that that is the song of a people saying, today, in this experience and in this expression, we get to be seen, we get to be acknowledged, we get to experience the fullness of the American life. Oh yeah, you smiled, and then the spell was cast, and here we are in heaven, for you are mine. We did not consciously acknowledge at that time that marked the beginning of the real work, that marked the beginning of our looking at ourselves as a nation in a different way and inviting ourselves as a nation to arrive in some new places. There are two pieces I want to bring to you related to that invitation and our acceptance of that invitation, because all of the things, all of the chaos that we've seen, and I'm going to go back to my playing with physics. If I understand it correctly, physics is teaching us that chaos is both necessary for creation as well as it's a stimulant to it, okay? So when we go back to the chaos of the last 2-3 years, what we know is that that's the stimulus to our going forward. And as part of that going forward, I want to invite us to revisit, because when we started our diversity conversations, we talked a lot about being an ally. I want to say that Reverend Jerry Carter is an ally. We talked about being an ally. So I just want us to remember what that means. An ally is someone who makes the commitment, number one, and effort, number two, to recognize their privilege based on gender, class, race, sexual identity, etc., and work in solidarity with oppressed groups in the struggle for justice. Allies. So I'm inviting all of us, because in that context, it's not just about race, right? It says gender, class, race, sexual identity. I absolutely want to add physical ability to that, right? And work in solidarity with oppressed groups in the struggle for justice. I have some privilege. How am I using that privilege for the good of all? The second idea I want to have us look at briefly, which I just have to give some props to my colleague, my friend, my brother, Reverend David Alexander. He did a little video on this. Spiritual gaslighting. Now, Reverend David defines spiritual gaslighting as holding someone responsible for circumstances or conditions that impact them that were not created by their consciousness. I'm going to say that again. Spiritual gaslighting is holding someone responsible for circumstances or conditions that impact them, that affect them, that were not created by their consciousness. Now, you are probably saying, well, I'd never do anything like that because that's just not simply who I am. I'm going to ask you to take a breath, to inhale, to think about it for a moment. Ms. Mackenzie Easton, who has written a book on the subject, says some of the signs that someone is using their spiritual lens to avoid their own pain, and I'm going to suggest that in this place called religious science, to avoid seeing how principle applies to all circumstances and conditions, avoiding that, she says, they take very little to zero self-responsibility. I want to jump right in and use an example. Today's affirmation is, I am the co-creator of my life, right? So now we get into a little both and I'm going to wrap up with this, but I really want you to hear this as related to this idea of spiritual gaslighting. So it's very easy. It's easy to look at the conditions in the world and tell those who are impoverished, those who are subjected to racism, who are subjected to institutionalized racism, sexism, to say to those people, you are the co-creator of your life. You don't like what's going on in your life? You need to change it. Now, there's no we up in there. There's no me taking responsibility in there, right? That's putting it all on the people who are impacted. Spiritual gaslighting. Ms. Eason tells us that there is often in this spiritual gaslighting a big emphasis on what Spirit says. We like to put the emphasis on what Ernest Holmes says, that there is a refusal to accept or even hear another's truth. And finally, there is rationalizing the cause of the circumstances as being from the other person's spiritual inadequacy, spiritual gaslighting. We are invited as the opposite end of that to create both within our communities, and I want to give y'all props, Oakland Center for Spiritual Living. You are doing a magnificent job, a magnificent job. We want to create cultures of accountability. Cultures of accountability are exciting and growth enhancing. Cultures of accountability give us the opportunity to discover and live from our growing edge and to bring out the best in people and in their organizations. I'm going to end with a section, just really the introduction from one of my favorite songs, one of my favorite love songs. And I invite you to just kind of close your eyes for a moment and hear it. And those of you who know it, you'll hear the words, you'll hear the music with it. When the night has come and the land is dark and the moon is the only light we'll see, I won't be afraid. I won't be afraid. Just as long as you stand by me. Ernest Holmes invites us to declare, and I invite you to declare, today I enter into my divine inheritance. shaking my thoughts clear from the belief that external conditions are imposed upon me, I declare the freedom of my divine inheritance. I invite us to collectively consider that together we walk through, we get through, we co-create that world that works for everyone. We co-create a world in which there is no spiritual gaslighting, but we are together walking a spiritual path of co-creation of good and more good and more good. Ashe, Amen, Amin, Aho, and so it is. Thank you. And now I invite you to join me in prayer as we lift up, as we use one of our most powerful tools for healing, as we lift up our community that is Oakland Center, that is Oakland, and that is for all of the entities that we support. This month's nonprofit partner is the East Bay School for Boys, and their mission is to empower middle school boys. God bless them. They're dealing with boys going through puberty, to empower middle school boys to cultivate their intellectual, physical, and emotional selves to become engaged, thoughtful, courageous, and justice-minded adults of tomorrow. And so indeed, I speak a word on behalf of the East Bay School for Boys, knowing that it is an expression for and as good and more good in the universe. I declare that we continuously improve and appreciate our relationship with the Mother Earth. I declare that we continuously step into not good, but excellent stewardship of this, our celestial home, that we appreciate her beauty, her resilience, and we appreciate her love. I am blessing our youth here at Oakland Center for Spiritual Living, as well as the youth of the world. Blessing everyone in service, our medical providers, our firefighters, our police officers, our folks that clean the streets, our sanitation workers. I'm blessing each person in service to all of us, knowing that their lives continue to unfold in a sense and an experience of harmony, love, and light. I know that each one in our community who is in need of comfort, peace of mind, and are healing in any way are absolutely receiving that. Specifically, I speak this word for our dear beloved Lita de Seville. I speak this word for Regina's sister, Loretta, sisters, Loretta and Marita. I speak this word for Loretta for wholeness and healing, and for Marita for peace of mind and serenity. I speak a word of healing for Sam. I speak a word of healing for Shannon Muse. I speak a word of healing for all those impacted by any disaster, whether COVID-19, any experience. I speak a word of knowing that there is only one life, and that life cannot be created or destroyed. It simply changes form. I speak this word for Grady Noble's sister, Betty Jean. I speak this word for the dear friend Tom of Eileen Grossman, who made his transition. I know that there is peace of mind for his wife, Vicki, and for his daughter, Molly. And I invite each one of us to, in our hearts, to speak a word of healing and wholeness for anyone, including ourselves, that we know are in need of that expression and experience. I know that God the Good, to which there is no opposite, is operating as wholeness in all of our affairs, in our physical affairs, in our health, in our financial affairs, and particularly in our love relationships. I release this word to the law, knowing that it's done and done well. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Mother, Father, God. Ashe, Amen, Amen, Aho, and so it is. And I turn you over to my dear friend, my colleague, my ally, Reverend Jerry Carter.
Thank you so much, Reverend D. Jacquelyn. It is such an inspiring day. I just feel filled to full and overflowing with such grace and goodness that you brought to us this day. I feel like I just received a gift of $1 million. And in receiving that gift of $1 million, I get to give $100,000 to Oakland Center for Spiritual Living. Isn't that grand? But what I do know is that there's no big or small in God. The gifts that we give abundantly bless our community, but more than that, they abundantly bless us. That law of circulation that always takes care of our earthly needs. So please join me holding your gift, your virtual gift, however it might be, to your heart, and let us share in our affirmation for our giving. That's a great one too. Just holding that gift. Well, before we affirm, we can talk a little bit about how to donate. As you know, we have a donate button on our website. We can text to give. We have Zelle. And of course, we have the good old mail service. So however you choose to give, auto tithing, whatever it may be, we are truly blessed by your gifts. So let us now affirm our giving affirmation. Joyously, I give with an abundant attitude of abundance, knowing that as I give, I do receive. And join me in saying, and so it is. Amen. So in this fullness and this richness that I'm feeling, I just lovingly turn this virtual platform over to our beloved practitioner, Regina Buckwalter. Regina.
Wow. Thank you all for making this such a celebratory and beautiful service this morning. I so appreciate being able to be part of it with you all. Thank you, Kev and Lukmont, for your beautiful music. As always, when you play, it is just such a sacred experience. So thank you for blessing us today. Thank you, Reverend D. Jacquelyn. As usual, your sermons are very informative and inspiring. So thank you for your message today. Wow. And all of the tech people that came together. It really does take a big village to put this out together every Sunday. And thank you for all of the coordination with my practitioner colleagues. Thank you for coming together, and the support staff. It's amazing how we do this every Sunday, and we've been doing it for a while now, and we keep getting better and better at it. So any of you folks out there in the community, if you would like a prayer, you can go online to oaklandcsl.org and pop into the website and request a prayer. Practitioners are available for services that way. And if you want to stay around after today's service, you can also do that. And we'll put you in a prayer room virtually. And it really works. I stick around and pray. And these prayers are very powerful, and they're Zoomed. And it's amazing what we can do in these little meeting rooms. Okay, so hope to see you next week as well in this virtual world of Oakland Center. And now our closing affirmation that we have deepened into. Thank you, Reverend D. Jacquelyn. I I am the co-creator of my life. And so it is. Okay, now it's time for Kev and Lukemonte again. And I'll see you in the prayer room. Thank you all. Blessings. Have a great Valentine's Day and a great week. Bye-bye.
That's cool. That was nice, by the way. That was a nice picture. Great message. Beautiful message. Wonderful service. Thank you, guys. Thanks, everyone, for gathering today. Starting this week off right. This next week, today off in a beautiful way. Sing with us. Blessed always, blessed always, for the arms of God surrounds us. Let our joy be so triumphant as we rest in God and say amen. Blessed always, blessed always, for the arms of God surround us. Let our joy be so triumphant that we rest in God and say amen. Let our joy be so triumphant that we rest in God and say amen. Amen. And so it is.
Turn on their microphones now and say hello.